It's not about
yeah,
feeding,
but they have something
it's not
else
about,
that is
it's not even
bothering them.
about family, because either they sorted everything or completely, they don't want
The problem
stress.
could be maybe the choice of car they have to drive. That's why I'm saying we all have different types of problems.
But there are problems and big problems. So, but anyway, this is the first Friday of the month.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the first Friday of December. And of course, that means now some people are fairly happy.
Okay.
And maybe some of their problems, their bank accounts have sorted them. So for this particular Friday, it is partying to many people and enjoying. But otherwise, Christmas, like you said, I'm not yet there.
Okay.
I've not yet connected to the vibe very well, Christmas vibe, but I know it's coming as time goes on.
Yes.
Most so it has issues to do so with the pocket. You know, the African way of celebrating Christmas and this excitement, it's not so much about the birth of Jesus Christ. It's more of the partying, the traveling. Some will have to go to the village, you know, and transport costs. So when you think of Christmas, you're like, how is my wallet, by the way? Then sometimes your head tells you, and mind, Jayaka Janja, come back to reality. Don't think of Christmas right now. But to my fellow friends, most of the youth, we don't want you to spend Christmas in jail or in prisons. Now, yesterday, police came out and issued a 14-day ultimatum for anybody having material or attire attires similar to those of the military to voluntarily take them to police. You have this cape, it is like for military. You have a trouser, you have a shirt, you have a red beret. Do yourself justice. Take these things to police. Or else, if you're found with them, after this 14 days ultimatum, you're going to be arrested, and the law says 7 years if convicted of imprisonment. So you may be still enjoying it as a youth, but remember, your people, your family, will at the end of the day suffer when you're incarcerated or when you're arrested. So please take these things. And I heard, if you fear to take them to police, there's a group of youth, is it they ghetto something, ghetto people, you know, they have their offices in every division of Kampala. Please take these attires too. This, my only worry is police, most of the times you've made mistakes. Moving around with funny groups, at the end of the day, they become a problem also.
Well, I mean, that's really a good message. Anything close to military fatigue, take it to the next police station, you know, to just avoid problems. We really want to be in the clear. Well, Felix, good morning and happy Friday.
Thank you. Good morning, Philo. How are you?
I'm great.
Are you
I'm
feeling
lovely.
good this Friday?
Yes, I am.
Anything different about it?
It's same old. Same old. I think it's just me who is different, but
Same.
yeah, same.
Well, of course, it is beautiful. One says it's the first Friday of December. Definitely, that is the assurance that we are into this beautiful month of December now. It comes with lots of excitement. It is Christmas, end of year, and definitely the festive season is, we're going to get more and more time with family.
Yes.
So probably for me, that's the biggest excitement. Gone are the days when we used to expect from our parents, now people are expecting from us.
Oh wow, what a harsh reality.
Time runs. Huh? Before you know, you have to do the shopping, you have to buy the clothes for people. Like how you used to
The
be
Christmas list is being submitted to you. You used to be there to submit.
That's the thing. Like, how did this change so fast? It seemed just like yesterday when I was the one asking for a new shoe, a new what. Right now, I have to get those things. The tales of life.
Growing old, man. It's a whole different thing together.
Yeah, so right now,
those
the stress is about that. What am I going to give my better half, my kids, my parents, and all this? It is what it is anyway.
Very interesting. I love when Felix says, what am I going to give my better half? And the way he says it with a lot of passion. Like, yes.
I think a couple of people need to pick a leaf. I think that's nice. As you can see, people already have plans. You know, they may be talking about them in such a subtle way. I could say right now I know what Felix is thinking about for the rest of this month. I have a picture. I may not have a clear picture, but I have an idea. I also know Robert over here what he's worried about, or what he's thinking about, or what he's planning to do. So, I mean, if you're like them, good for you. If you don't have a plan yet, it's not too late. I believe you still have some time to structure something out. But hey, good morning, Uganda. We're here to make sure that we keep reminding you of what's happening around in the country in as much as we're getting ready for Christmas. Still, news is coming through, or this Friday, I would say it's still popping through, both on the local scene and on the international scene. And right now, Robert, going to be taking us through some of our local stories.
Well, we'll be looking at what is happening, and there's so much that transpired, and we want to see what really we're having this morning. But, we know apart from some of the things that were running, Philo will be looking at some of the stories that were in our news overnight, and that is something we want to be going through. President Museveni, who has asked Ugandans to desist from lifestyle that could easily lead them into acquiring HIV/AIDS. Museveni was preached against stigma and asked for behavior change in the fight against HIV/AIDS. This was during the World AIDS Day celebration in Rukunjiri district, where he lauded donors for supporting the response to HIV/AIDS. In Kalangala district, fishing communities have decried the expensive inter-island transport system, which affects the work of people, organizations involved in the fight against HIV/AIDS. This is one of the issues that was highlighted by islanders as Ugandans joined the rest of the world to mark this year's World AIDS Day. In Kampala, the Archbishop of the Church of Uganda, Anglican, His Grace Dr. Stephen Samuel Kazimba Mugalu, asked for increase of the budget meant for treatment of persons with HIV/AIDS. Kazimba Mugalu made the remarks during Buganda Mothers Union event marked this year as they celebrated World AIDS Day.
Religious and political leaders in Gomba district have asked government to consider turning the ancestral home of the late Philip Bongole Lutaya into a tourism attraction. Now, Philip Bongole Lutaya was the first Ugandan HIV victim to speak out publicly about the virus and demystifying the analogy that it was not a virus but rather a craft.
And moving on, the Uganda People's Defense Forces will deploy its contingent of 1,000 troops as an intervention force to counter the M23 rebels pursuing a security threat to Kinshasa-based government in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. The UPDF will join 600 Kenya Defense Intervention Force already deployed in Goma to neutralize the M23 rebel operations that has over time led to the suffering of people in this area and their failure to adhere to cases and opportunities of ceasefire for peaceful resolution in the area.
And elsewhere, starting off with the Ukrainian soldiers, now up to 13,000 of these have been killed since the start of Russia's invasion. A senior official has said Mikhailo Podolak, an advisor to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, said between 10,000 and 13,000 troops had died. It is rare for Ukraine to give figures for casualties, and Mr. Podolak's comments have not been confirmed by the country's military. Back in June, he said between 100 and 200 Ukrainian soldiers were dying daily. Last month, the most senior U.S. General Mark Milley said around 100,000 Russian and 100,000 Ukrainian soldiers had been killed or injured since the start of the war. In a video address on Wednesday, EU Commission head Ursula von der Leyen said that 100,000 Ukrainian troops had been killed. However, a spokesperson for the EU Commission later clarified that this was a mistake and the figure referred to those both killed and injured. Now, in the world's most expensive cities are jointly New York and Singapore, according to the annual Economist Intelligence Unit survey. It is the first time New York has topped the rankings. Last year's number one, Tel Aviv, is now placed third. Overall, the average cost of living in the world's biggest cities is up 8.1% this year, according to the EIU survey report. The war in Ukraine and COVID's impact on supply chains were identified as factors behind the increase. Inflation was particularly high in Istanbul, with prices up by 86%, Buenos Aires 64%, and Tehran 57%. High inflation in the US was one of the reasons for New York topping the list. Now, Los Angeles and San Francisco also made the top 10 earlier this year. US inflation was the highest in more than 40 years. The strengthening dollar was also a factor in the US city's prominence. Back in Africa, chaos erupted in the Senegalese parliament on Thursday after a male lawmaker hit a female colleague on the head in scenes that were televised live. Parliamentary proceedings were disrupted during a budget presentation after opposition member of parliament Massata Sam left the podium and walked over to Amy Ndiaye Nibi of the ruling Benobokia coalition and hit her. In retaliation, Ms. Nibi threw a chair back at Mr. Sam before other MPs intervened. However, the chaos did not stop as the lawmakers traded blows, leading to the suspension of the session. Local media reports that Mr. Sam reminded the House of remarks Ms. Nibi had made earlier, which he said were discourteous. Ms. Nibi is then said to have replied from her seat that she did not care. Then Mr. Sam cut short his speech and rushed towards her. Adding climate and weather news, more prayers, more bombs, and more woes. Over the decades, people have tried all of three to staunch the flow of lava from volcanoes in the U.S. state of Hawaii as it lumbered towards roads, homes, and infrastructure. Now, Mauna Loa, the world's largest active volcano, is erupting again, and lava is slowly approaching the main thoroughfare connecting the Big Island's east and west sides. And once more, people are asking if anything can be done to stop or divert the flow. Humans have rarely had much success stopping lava, and despite the world's technological advances, doing so is still difficult and dependent on the force of the flow and the terrain. But many in Hawaii also question the wisdom of interfering with nature and Pele, the Hawaiian deity of volcanoes and fire. Attempts to divert lava have a long history in Hawaii. Listen, you know, this chaos that happens in these parliaments, in the African parliaments, is starting to really get to me. Because have we started to make it a habit? Because this is not the first time we have seen chaos in the South African parliament. We have seen chaos in our very own parliament here.
Yes.
What's happening? I don't know. The people, the parliamentarians that we are sending to these houses to represent their citizens, what's going on?
I think first and foremost is when the electorate in Africa chose to devalue their vote or their powers. That, you know, when someone is in parliament, they are honorable members and they should behave in that manner. So what happens when the electorate decided that they can send anybody, regardless of who they were? For example, I'll use Uganda's case. Who could exchange blows in the CA? The Constituent Assembly, the people that were then there.
There was no need.
Even if they were, these were
people
that were men of dignity, self-respect, and all that. When you come to parliaments that we have today, you know, you have this one, that one, that one. So, just a small spike, just a bit of getting excited. You saw research what Honorable Zake did. You know, much as the Deputy Speaker may have had issues, but immediately, an honorable member of parliament, you're banging things like a child.
If that is the only way to listen, why wouldn't I? But I would do the same thing.
Does it really have to get to the point of being chaotic, though?
It's about the times. We are living in times where we have to force our opinions. Trust me, you're talking about the CA. CA, the times were different. Things were more negotiable. Politics were
people were actually
casual.
listening, and
today,
yes,
don't only look at families. You have a woman, you tell her we are living in times where violence is one of the most close solution. You know, like the Archbishop was saying, like, where have you been? Did I go with your blanket? Now, everything, that's the thing. Everything around us is violence. So I don't blame these guys. They are living in times where everyone has to force their opinion onto the other. If someone is telling you and not listening, the story you've read, the speaker saying, what? I don't care. Why don't you care? So I should make you care. Like,
but I really don't think we have to get to a point of violence.
Philo, the times you are living in,
yes,
everything, and I want to just put it on yourself. From the time you move from here to your home, do you know how many things irritate you?
There are very many, quite
starting
many.
From the way people drive.
Yes.
If I had my way, I would just be slapping everyone.
But you don't slap the people.
Because they're not close to me, trust me. Put them close to me, you'll see that.
Felix is just reminding me of these people who drive and they have Nkoni in their car, on the dashboard. And
I know.
What is this?
We condemn, as Good Morning Uganda, we condemn violence. As Good Morning Uganda, we condemn violence. I still believe we can talk.
The times we live in, Philo, you try to be deceptive here on TV, that what, but everything is just so distressing. For some people who use taxis, you go in a taxi, when they are taking you inside, they love you so much, they care. But no, they even come behind to pick you when it's time to get out.
Yes.
You say Vidamuan. Because there's, you know, everything
there's someone
is,
they want to pick and
let us say take away. So everything around us is flaring in the flames of violence. Go to social media. Someone but we can
agree that in as much as that is the reality that is happening, it shouldn't be what should be happening.
It is what it is, Philo.
It shouldn't be the way. It shouldn't be the way, although that's what's happening.
Well, he gave the example of Zake.
Yes.
Zake said, this we have talked about, talk, but they're abducting people there. And in his own sense, trust me, I think he was right. He had to get attention, which he did.
Yes.
You know, some things, and this I learned from university politics, sometimes negotiation has its place. And so painfully, by the way, like it is. And if you're keen to, when you look at some of my status statements or whatever they call it, sometimes braveness is not the absence of fear. Even us who try to be violent, sometimes we are fearful, by the way.
Because you know it may not end well.
But because it's the only option we are left with.
You've been pushed to the wall.
When I look at Zach, you may look at him that he wanted to bring comedy, but that's not. Why do you focus on his out part? Look at the message. Sometimes put your eyes off the messenger and look, is he lying? So that prompted, yesterday, the minister I think came out, or the Honorable Mohozi came out to make some little address about it. You hosted here the spokesperson of they started to acknowledge that, guys, some of the people we have taken, but how hard was that for them to come before some of these?
Did they really have to wait to that point?
If you don't want violence, don't push people into violence. As a family, Philomena, my darling, how are you, dear? I am how I am. Now,
people are going through a lot, but I totally understand it.
You know all those things. Someone asks you nicely, because now everything around us is trouble anyway. Let me just.
Good morning, Uganda Friday special. Clearly, you can see that there is a lot that is happening. And totally, by the way, I honestly concur with you, Felix. There are very many conditions that are driving people to react to the way they're reacting towards different situations. So yes, but again, I feel like violence shouldn't be the way out, or it shouldn't be the way we can look at this problem.
It should be the second option.
Yeah. It should be the last.
It should be the last option. But then the people who will drive you to the wall until your last option. But I know that people will try you.
It is the closest now, because people now appreciate violence.
They feel like it's more effective.
You be there. Like I saw some former prominent person. I think used to be CEO or MD of New Vision. That guy is Robert or something.
Robert
on
Robert.
Twitter. I think he was talking about people investing. So that some kid tells him, so you also want to be your head of that. You know what the guy said? I want to do it for your mother. Now, as quick as that.
Yes.
it
People
had
feel like they
already-
have nothing to lose anymore. Anyway, it's getting
So,
crazy out
and
there.
The
Social
next
media.
option is violence. That's what I can tell
Again,
you.
good
should
morning.
be that.
Uganda condemns violence in all ways. Could be verbal violence, could be physical violence. We condemn it here.
But
well,
we also advise you to fight for your rights.
good morning, Uganda
Don't
Friday
let the
special.
fellows take
But
away
We're
your
still
rights.
going on. We are going
how
for
Felix
we
woke
are
up.
going for a break. When we get back, we'll be having more discussions. I know these two gentlemen have issues to address, but we'll be back shortly.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
If I'm looking at issues of taxation and all that, I will definitely run for the Kateshumbas. Okay? If I look at, if I'm looking at issues of investments and what, I would definitely run. I would definitely run for Dr. Emure Kugonza and Honorable Omara. Okay? If I'm looking at issues of the law, I will run for our very, very own people. I have the Oboso bosses, I have the Katuntus, I have the Robin Arapojos. So everyone is talented in one way or another.
Did you mention Katuntu?
Okay? Yes.
Is he yours?
Yes, he is.
Yours as in NRM?
He is.
Was brought to you by.
Simply make a small deposit of 99k and pay the balance mpola. You can pay in daily, weekly or even monthly installments while you enjoy your new phone. So what are you doing today? Visit any MTN shop near you and get the MTN cupboard. That's super easy.
The Ministry of Health informs the public that there are confirmed cases of Ebola in Uganda. We, however, urge the public not to panic as the situation is being managed. The Ministry of Health further reminds the public to be on the lookout for any persons who may show signs and symptoms of Ebola. These include high body temperature, abdominal pains, diarrhea, vomiting, bleeding from the body openings such as the nose, eyes, and mouth. Please inform the nearest health worker immediately if you see anyone with these signs and symptoms. To prevent Ebola from spreading further, please take the following preventive measures: regular washing of hands with water and soap, avoid handshaking and hugging, avoiding any contact with any suspected Ebola patients. Any person who dies suddenly should not be buried but reported to the nearest health worker or LC1 immediately. For further information, please call the Ministry of Health toll-free number on 0800-100-066 or send a free SMS to your report on 8500. This message is from the Ministry of Health with support from UNICEF and World Health Organization.
When you talk about our motherland Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, you cannot fail to smile because of the smile that fills the faces of the citizens. Our nice good weather and nature that sustains us all, that enables us all to continue each in their own way, because we are all different even according to each individual's work. But what joins us to become one person is the sweetness from the flavored drink Alleluia Jingati drink and Alleluia Tamarind drink. The flavor that quenches your thirst while at the same time treating and healing your body because it is 100% natural. Enjoy the drink that has got the tamarind juice in it. Made by Alleluia Reflexology, Healthy Solutions and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Get yourself a bottle of Alleluia from all shops around.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial star 149 star 10 hash to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a
bundle for friends and family, dial star 149 star 10 star 5 hash. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial star 149 star 10 hash to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Welcome to English in a Minute. It's no surprise that cats like to sleep. A nap is a short period of sleep.
There you are. The movie is about to start.
I'm sorry. I got up at 5 this morning to go swimming, and then I helped a friend move some furniture.
Are you sure you aren't too tired for this movie?
No. I took a cat nap. As long as this movie isn't boring, I'll be fine. What are we seeing anyway?
The Long Dark Winter. It's a 3-hour foreign movie. I hope you like subtitles.
A cat nap is just a short amount of light sleep during the day. This expression became popular in the 1820s. The person who first used it probably lived with a lot of cats and noticed just how much they sleep. And that's English in a Minute.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial star 149 star 10 hash to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial star 149 star 10 star 5 hash. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial star 149 star 10 hash to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
It's still Good Morning Uganda Friday special that you're watching, and I'm very glad that you're still with us this morning of this Friday and on the second day of December 2022. My name is Philomena Mastiko. Once again, good morning. And this morning I am joined by the whole house, and I do have Felix Nkunda, I do have Mollen, Kenyena, and I also do have Robert, Kirabo, and Bob. But Mollen, good morning. How are you doing? How are you feeling this Friday?
Well, a very good morning to you. It is a Friday, obviously it does bring in good feelings. So yeah, that's how I am feeling. And
are you feeling Christmassy?
Yeah, it's just the second day of December, so I don't feel the mood yet.
No.
But I am hoping by the time I get into next week, probably. Yeah. Maybe I just need a weekend to get my mood started. Yeah.
And do you have plans of getting a Christmas tree? Do you have one in the house already, or you're just still thinking about it?
You know what? I just figured there are a lot of artificial trees in town, so I'm still looking forward to getting something natural. I don't know whether we have enough gardens, but I'm looking around. I haven't seen one, but that is what I'm looking out for. I need something, organic that will bring in the feel of Christmas. Now, these that are artificially made are not doing it for me this Christmas.
Yes.
So I'm still waiting on. I haven't found the right tree. Yeah.
Well, but at least the most important thing is that you have plans of getting a tree and, bringing the Christmas body to your house.
Yes.
Well, speaking of houses and households, well, we're in this season, a holiday season, could be in terms of celebrations, but also it is a time when we have our children back at home. Now, there was a report coming in from the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development, and it was giving out quite some information that won't exactly be very nice for your ear. They were clearly talking about how they're being overwhelmed by the cases or the upsurge in cases of child abuse. Now, this brings a lot of disappointment to me as an individual, and I'm pretty sure even to my colleagues over here. We can be over here hearing or witnessing reports like this, having quite an increase in the number of child abuse cases in all these homes. And this is quite a crucial report coming in at a crucial time when we have children who have completely broken off for third-term holidays quite a very long holiday as well, the longest actually amongst the 3 holidays. And this raises very many eyebrows and very many questions. Who is not doing what they're supposed to be doing, or who is doing the wrong thing? Who should be held accountable for this increase? But before we get into all that, we need to understand what child abuse is here. What exactly do they mean by these cases growing? And anyway, where are the loopholes? Why are we witnessing things like this? And maybe I will just start off with you, Uncle Bob. Child abuse. What do you understand by child abuse anyway? Because this is a song we've been talking about every now and then. Child abuse, this, child abuse, and that. But just in a generic format, how would you describe that?
First, child abuse involves a number of aspects, and it ranges in various forms. But to be general, is inflicting pain on this child, denying a child certain things that they're supposed to be getting as a child. So it's all about making their life very uncomfortable. In simplicity, that's what I want to term it, in simple terms. Because you would find that torture amounts to child abuse. But they can also be psychologically, where there's no pain you're going to put on this child, but maybe someone, or even denying them food. So child abuse takes a number of forms that I wouldn't have a single definition to that, but I would say there are a number of forms as long as this child, they inflict pain or render them or deny them of their rights as children to fully enjoy their livelihood.
And you know, these days, every other thing we come to realizations every single minute that actually this that I'm doing to this child is abusing them mentally. It could be against their rights, it could be against the way they feel. So I totally understand where you're coming from. But coming to you, Felix, you're very passionate about issues of family, issues of children, and we all are. But I do feel like you get closer to this. You take it so personally, and I really like it from where you bring your, descriptions and your concerns. But also seeing a report like this, what could this actually mean? And I mean, why are we seeing these cases in 2022 growing higher? Because we have fronted very many fights against child abuse. At least from the time I was born, we have been talking about child abuse. This is something I learned back in primary, secondary, tertiary, and any other, education level I went through. And till now that we are working, we're still talking about it, and we're not hearing good reports. Why could there be an increase in these cases?
Well, Philo, I love the fact and the description you attach to me when it comes to family, and I think I'm glad to have earned that from your own view or perspective. But throwing light to this particular topic, you will realize that child abuse, as Robert put it, is directly about denial of the expectation in terms of performance that can also manifest in commissions or omissions for a particular group of children, one would say, or cluster of persons. But the first qualification probably for us to understand is who is a child? Who qualifies to be a child? Because sometimes we have misplaced reality, but per our constitution and the global realization or our appreciation, you'll notice that we're looking at people of about 18, fairly 18, one would be considered to be a child, and they deserve to be still taken care of. The international standards do put the Universal Declarations of Rights probably for children, and in the International Convention of Social and Economic Rights for the UN, they do give description and say that the expectation is that from the age of 18, someone can fairly take care of their own self. They can survive without main assistance, and we won't go into the nitty-gritties of main assistance, but as far as that is concerned, now, why the increase, as you put it, Philo? And probably this is majorly observed for a period of time that has been cut out to be a strange time for the world, if you want to ask me that as well. Strange in ways that everything about the daily life order changed, as a matter of fact. That the people who used to do, say for example, 10 hours in terms of work, wouldn't do 10 hours anymore. They would still do probably about 2 or even none, or half of that. People who used to earn, say, 100% would now be able only to earn about 2 or probably none of that, and so many forth. Now, there's something called, one of the causes of the rise is something called transferred malice. Many offenders of children's rights are basing on reasons that are not caused by the children. I don't know if that comes out a bit clear. Many children are being abused not because they are the cause of the abuse.
Yes.
But because there's something called transferred malice. Now, you find parents sometimes beating children, omitting to give them whatever necessities for life, not because the kids don't deserve them, but because probably they can't get them, or they just have to punish them through that. Now, when you come to African countries, it's even worse. Some of the causes is, one, poverty. Poverty has very many manifestations in terms of abuse, and depending on how people treat poverty. There are some people, when they are poor, some don't talk, others talk a lot, others sleep a lot, others don't get sleep, others get sick, some are admitted, some A, B, C, D, E, and depending. Now, poverty is one of the biggest causes, because when you go to, for example, when you go to European countries where people are fairly okay in terms of economics, you see that the rates are very much down. Like what could annoy you when you have your money?
Yes.
Even the things that should annoy you just make you laugh because you have the solution. But even the things that don't make you mad when you're broke, trust me, will make you mad. Even a fly passing,
they will evoke a lot of anger.
That's when you start thinking of people who should be bewitching you. That's when you think of, this is the seventh, even the times it has passed in your face, the seventh time it is passing. and that all is generally just about poverty. So that's one. But secondly, also, the absence of formidable laws in terms of child abuse in our countries. African countries are still grappling with enforcement of legislation. They may have the laws, but the failure to have mechanisms that do enforce these laws to the latter is one of the biggest challenges most recently. Now, and that directly works into the challenges of child abuse. Giving examples of offenses like rape, defilement, just to mention but a few. Most recently we did, I think a time back, we did a topic about punishments. How many cases have we seen in this country where parents are banning their own children because probably kids stole cassava, then they put a jerry can, you have 100, 500 shillings, they ban a child. All the hands. Now, but what's the cause? So we must address the issue of law, legislation, but also we can't do away from the issue of poverty. But lastly, Philo, we must agree to place the right responsibility with families. Are we having the right people doing the parenting job? Who is a parent in Uganda? Let's be honest. In Uganda, the qualification of being a parent is probably sleeping with someone. Like Bob always says, children by chance. Not everyone is supposed to be a parent. By mere fact, by the way, of having what we call private parts doesn't qualify you to be a parent. It is not about having being a man and woman. That is not, the qualification is not sexual intercourse. And that's the misconception in most of third world countries, that because someone has a womb, that's the qualification, and that's the problem. Yes, also, and I think that's also true. These things of demand on children. And then all those things, the pressure, not everyone should be a parent. Parenthood is a process, trust me, you. So we must also, and who should be talking about these families? Our religious institutions, our cultural institutions. You find a family that has 12 children, but both the parties, husband and wife, or these bedmates or housemates or whatever they call themselves, they are just, one is 23, the mother is 23, of 7 children, the father probably is about 26. But this family they are more or less also children.
We have child mothers. And
absolutely. At the age of 13,
you have children parenting children.
What are you going to give that you've never got it, that you don't have? You get the point. We are having the wrong people doing the wrong job. Parenting is a full-time thing. For example, I've seen mothers, and this goes to the women out there. If you find a woman beating a 1.5-year-old, for what? We've kid. That is the first abuse. Abuse starts at the age of 1 year. Yes. But for what reason? But this is 1.5 years.
Well,
the problem is bigger than what actually
we see.
I think we should first deal with the mental health of the parents. They are the problem.
And actually, now that you talk about mental health, I feel like this is just one aspect we need to talk about, alone, as a standalone issue. Now, you can be part of this conversation. Get onto our WhatsApp platform, 0709-602-592. Get onto Twitter. The hashtag here is UBCGMU, and let us know, how do we cut down on the numbers of child abuse that we are witnessing right now in Uganda, or how do we actually completely get rid of it? Because that should be the ultimate goal. We shouldn't be hearing cases of children who are being denied, their rights, children who are being offended physically, mentally, in all aspects. And speaking of mental health, Mollen, I would very much appreciate you coming in with quite a build-up on this. Mental health has been mental health is very key. For you to have a mental health is very important, but how do you gauge your mental health? How do you rate it? Is it actually doing great, or maybe it still has issues? And can we say that there is a link between the mental health of people, especially parents, and these people who really carry out all these forms of child abuse? Can we say there is a link in between those two? And if it's there, I mean, how do we break it down? Because I certainly understand that there are people who would not know that some of these things stem all the way from people having mental health issues, and probably they find a way of projecting that onto the children.
Well, I think at this point we have to acknowledge that this is now on both sides. Because with child abuse, you look at most especially the emotional abuse. That will put a child in a different mental state. That has to be acknowledged. But we also have to be aware that some of these parents, especially if you're a mother, biological mother and father, inflicting some kind of abuse on this child, you're mentally ill. That I do not have to get facts from the doctor to, ascertain that this person is mentally stable or not. But for you to have that kind of, abuse on a child that causes a child's state to be unstable, you're also ill. And I think that is just a fact of reality. And those are some of the issues we need to address and make sure that, while we are tackling this topic, we're able to ascertain some of those facts. Because I think the point that, hearing from what Felix and Robert are trying to make, we're talking about neglect. We now have cases where parents have neglected their children. And this will bring in, obviously, the single fathers and single mothers, and I'll tap mostly on the single fathers. I wish we had a law in Uganda that gets directly to some of these people that are neglecting their children. Because let's get to the root cause. How is this mother even transferring their anger to the child? It has an issue to do with the fact that probably the father is not bringing in the child support they're supposed to be bringing in. And because she's struggling, trying to get child support, the dad has wants nothing to do with it. She is angry. And in turn, this is getting pain to the child. Now, as a father, you're out there, you think you're hurting this woman, but you're indirectly hurting the child. That is where we bring in the issue of neglect. And you also do have some of these women that are unstable. Well, she got to be a mother for a certain reason, and this is what Felix was trying to bring across. She was not prepared to have this child. This is a person with no job, with no money, Probably even her family neglected her because of the mere fact that she got pregnant from this man, and she's all on her own. That is enough to cause someone instability. She's nowhere. And the person who she thought was going to help her out is out, actually. It's like, no, I want nothing to do with you. This is enough to cause someone to be in a state where they can inflict pain on a child. That is where we're seeing issues of physical abuse now. A simple mistake a child does at home, this woman will be able to inflict pain, and actually not by mere fact of being a biological mother. We've also seen stepmothers that are putting physical abuse on these children. This is, in itself, a man is related in this issue. And not to attack them, but we have to first address the fact that men have been at the forefront of causing child abuse, indirectly or directly. And this is where we should also be focusing our efforts. Now, when I talk about physical abuse, we also bring in drunkards. Men who are drunk and get home drunk, either they are now abusing the women at home, the mother of these children, and the children are saying that is enough to cause emotional pain, emotional abuse for the children to see that. And in the
father
morning,
is busy strangling the mother, and
exactly.
the child is seated
and,
there.
and they are there, the kids are shivering, they think this is now coming to them.
The children unite and give you therapy.
So even at a young age, a child seeing that, they are obviously going to feel like this is emotional for them. And this is how we end up, if you ask a psychiatrist or a therapist, these are some of the issues that are presented. A child is scared their entire life, and most of them become suicidal. We've seen suicide cases from children because of physical abuse at home, emotional abuse at home. We've seen that. Also, we raise children who are unstable. They think this is okay. These are men that grow up to beat their wives, because they have seen it happen and they have seen their mothers cover it up. They are not reporting these cases, and they think, no, this is normal. My mother gets beaten all the time, and or my mother was beaten all the time and she was okay.
And some people are really traumatized.
Right
now, actually, if you interact with a couple of what I would say adults right now, you will still realize that they're traumatized by some of these incidents that they witnessed back in their day. Their parents having these serious fights, men beating women, their fathers beating their mothers.
It carries on, actually.
Even at university
yes.
Like sometimes you talk hard to each other, like, just starts crying. Like,
and also, I think one thing that we've also noticed is, personally, the police departments, the family departments that handle some of these cases, I do not know what happens, but you will see a woman who reported a case yesterday to her husband. The husband comes, and most of these guys are actually loaders. They have the money for child support. They just choose not to. And then within 2 days, the case is nowhere. The woman is back in the same state.
Do you know why?
And they are backed in a corner.
Because the officers have the same problem.
They have the
on
same
a daily.
problem.
Just looking at you saying, just go and take your partner. I'm also
like, you're not the first one. We also have these issues.
That's the problem.
That is where we are having the problem. We've
But I
not
think,
had strict laws, strict regulations to make sure that we have some of these issues out of the way. And another thing, Philomena, I think we should all be open about is sexual abuse. Most of these children have had sexual abuse to the extent that their own parents have done this. We've seen cases like this in police. And it's no wonder one of the politicians in this country once suggested that most of these men should be castrated the moment you are identified as having raped someone below 18. Defilement or rape, they should be castrated. I still think that is an extreme, well, it is inhumane, but probably it would have done something. We are talking about abusing a child who doesn't even know what sex means, and you're raping them, you're defiling them, and you see some of these criminals go away. These are criminals that should be apprehended, but we're still seeing similar cases. And now,
and it has become a pattern. Yes.
It has become a pattern. And it stems from the fact that parents are still neglecting their children, because there are things we have not told our children. We've not established trust that a child will go out there, be raped by a stranger, but she is afraid to actually tell the parents, because we've not established that kind of, friendly feel or friendly environment at home.
But whose fault is that?
So I think, well, this is where I'm also bringing in the parents. We have failed to protect our own children. They don't feel that trust is there. And when, because a rape case is a rape case, you don't have to have been in a secure place for someone to be raped.
Can we also
they're raped in
yes.
schools, they're raped in environments where they are. So we have to establish the fact that, yes, this happens, but are they able to report back so that the culprits are apprehended?
And maybe also there are also cases where we've seen children who have fallen victim of rape and they're not able to even open up to their parents. Doesn't that show, like, I could say, a loophole in the relationships parents have with their children? The fact that your child can't, is that something we can blame to the, is that blame that we can apportion to the parents partially or entirely? Because I have seen parents struggle.
100% put it on the parents, because no one is going to teach you how to relate with your children. You personally, and by the way, this is where we have to separate. We might blame it on, the fact that probably parents are not together, or they're together but don't have that. But you as an individual parent, as a mother or the father, regardless of the circumstances of how your family is like, you have the utmost responsibility to make sure that you're in touch with your child. And that is something that I think a lot of parents have failed on, which is why we get some of these cases, mishandled. And also, it also brings in the facts of child marriages. Now, some parents, after seeing issues of defilement or rape, we still have cultures that force these children into marriage because of something like that. A child is raped, you know it is wrong, or they are defiled, and you're like, this is a family that we could probably count on. You go straight to the family, and you're like, I know that my child has been raped or has been defiled, but if you marry them, the case will go away.
We are doing away with that case.
Exactly,
it's no longer
and that
problem.
is how we're ending up with child marriages. Or even the fact that most of these marriages themselves are just, totally a mess. Families are a mess, and they're trying to get rid of children. That is how we're ending up with child marriages.
Well,
this is all abuse at a very different level.
We
And
also
I
need
think
to-
anyone, or most of the authorities,
Yes.
we've seen NGOs, organizations that have come up to support, but I think as government, we have not done our due diligence in establishing some of the, systems to address most of these children.
I still believe actually we could come up with multi-sectoral prevention modes. There are different parties that have to contribute to this. But before we get into that, we also need to talk about the risk factors here, Robert, of this maltreatment, which really involves everything: psychological, emotionally, physical. What are some of the risk factors that people probably don't know about? And anyway, also looking at the outcomes of events like this. I know some of them could be short-term, others could be long-term. Do they have any effect on the victims? Do they have any effect on the families of these victims? We need to look at it from that scope. So maybe you could just throw more light on that.
First, we have to look at extremes. I'll begin with the extremes of child abuse.
Yes.
Some lead to mental disorders. If you look at a child who has continuously been abused, first, they have less self-esteem. Two, their mental status over a time, because some can sustain injuries, physical injuries.
Yes.
We've seen many that have been banned. NGOs and the media have done a good job in showing these cases. You find a child, the entire skin, the mother maybe got a jerry can, put in fire, and then, you see, so they have body injuries. They have psychological problems as well. One will tell you that someone who has grown up being extremely battered, extremely abused, this is a child you can even just call by hear of a voice of someone, and this, you see this child as if they are present but absent. It even affects their education system, performance in class, performance in school. But when a person grows up continuously under torture, it has a trickle down, it has the way it will even happen in the life of that person, in their cycle. That is why most of the times we are talking about domestic violence. But if you do research and find out, and this is a fact, you find out most of men that are abusive in their homes, some of them think this is the way of doing things. I grew up seeing my dad beating my mother, and my mother was there, she raised us, we are 5. what are you talking about?
Yes.
Because it doesn't only end at the level when this person is a child, but if it's his or her lifestyle where she has been brought up, it should actually give the same, because that is what. So it will be hard to break that chain. Second, even it has an economic factor. If you are to rate in terms of productivity, that you'll find that children in these families, at the end of the day, many do not live to see their potentials or fulfillment of their potentials. You'll find that many of these children, they have very low self-esteem, very low self-esteem. A child that is backed at, child abuse takes a number of forms. If you look at a child who has this battering physical, those we shall see the wounds. But there's another very dangerous way that usually I'm told stepmothers do. That when Felix returns home, Mollen will show that they love the child, she cares. This. When Felix is away, danger starts. So what happens to this child? That they have a way, as they are being brought up, continuous pain they have had. And even one of the dangers of child abuse is these children even extend it to other children. I don't know if you've noticed some of the children that engage in violence in schools. If you go back and do research, many of these children are coming from violent homes where they have been abused, very violent homes that they don't have much to give apart from violence. Yet it is child abuse now for them. They are transferring it into violence with their playmates at school, and at the end of the day you're going to find out that it is a chain and it has so many repercussions that are affecting on the health, on the social, on the economic arena of our country.
Well, the conversation this morning, the rising cases of child abuse. How do we bring the numbers down? How do we cover up this void and make sure that we don't hear cases like this anymore? We are sure, we're very certain that children are in safe hands. They're being protected mentally, physically, and emotionally. That's the aim of this discussion this morning. And well, coming in from a number of our viewers, Job Omara from Lira City, you say, well, I see that the rising cases of child abuse is brought about by the mental illnesses among parents, which causes post-traumatic stress disorder, hence making the infliction of child abuse inevitable. And I think this is something we talked about earlier on. Thank you so much, Job Omara. And also coming in from James, you are quoting the law and also saying that the child abuse best solution should definitely should be letting the law be enforced, and it starts with you. Well, you being me and you being you as well. So again, we could say this is a societal approach. Everybody has a part to play in this. Thank you so much. And coming in from Landaboy, you call, okay, I hope that's the name. You're saying strict laws should be enforced against child abuse and followed up to ensure that the perpetrators are punished highly. And again, I think this is what Mollen, you were saying, that the law is really not playing hard, and Felix as well. They're not really doing what they're supposed to do. Well, we still have some feedback coming in, but continue letting us know what is the ideal solution to this problem onto our WhatsApp platform and also our Twitter. Well, Felix, the intervention to this problem. We need to talk about
now it. You've brought it is like Felix is the intervention.
Well, I know that he would really talk much more on the legal side. Yes.
Apparently,
yes.
My darling Philo, trust me, the law comes last on the tail of children.
Yes.
And who sits at the front table when it comes to issues of child abuse is entirely family and society. It is sad today that we have raised a generation of very selfish families. Very selfish. It is a shame. Have you seen the number of young boys and girls on our streets who's talking about these kids? Let's be honest. Honestly and truly, who's talking about these young ones? You find like a young, barely a year, kaliao kebasi. And it's very normal. Do you know what happens in Uganda? It's normal. Now it's the thing. We all look at it like...
We've normalized it. It's the same old thing, yes.
No, as long as it's not about my kid, to hell. But you can't talk about child abuse and not talk about the most evident things just before our eyes. You get the point?
Yes.
Police will come out and pride about twakote omukazi eyakubye omwana mu katambi. Don't be silly. How about the kids? These kids are on the streets. They sleep here. They are raped. You see these kids begging for money. They are pregnant. You're rushing to arrest the video people. Our investigation team has investigated. There are kids who did no investigation. And KCCA will come and say, hey, amatalabaga banyo. Where is your priority as a nation? What is the role of the most important institutions that formulate this country away from the politicians? How many times as the church do we have open discussions about children welfare? Do you know what they talk about in churches? Chitwali, chirete, chitwali, chitutte, chitwali, chitwali yafuka chitwali, 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 chitwali. The kingdom of God is not just about taking all the time. We don't go to church to take. Yeah? Most recent, you're seeing pastors releasing for money to buy cars. Why don't we have churches at the forefront of these arguments? Because bebagatta abantu. They're the ones who ordain marriages, unions. But if you're also shying away from speaking the realities of these, what do you tell these people who you go to join to start producing kids? The only thing they talk about, by begama mugende muzale mwale. Mwalirani. Who are you producing for? The most important institutions are not addressing the most crucial issues about child abuse. Talk about culture leaders. But the children of those particular cultural societies are losing it.
They're forgetting about their primary or cardinal responsibilities in this
No
society.
one is addressing the real issues. People, that's why my point is about selfishness. Go to these politicians of today. In as much as we have very many socio-economic challenges, no one is talking about the plight of children. For example, I want to ask you, I've been questioning, I remember the first time I had this question was as in P4 here at Shimoni. And I remember talking to Honorable, the gentleman from Tororo. Honorable, is it something? Who represents children in parliament? Okay, let's imagine.
There's a forum.
Maybe a forum will be vague. Why is it represented by a forum?
Okay, the forum is there.
What is it
shows what's there to show for their work?
Because parliament is where everyone comes to put the statements, to share part of the cake, to who is representing children in parliament.
Oh, they only talk about them when the numbers are going high. There is also that.
Because there is no these poor things have no representation, no one is going to discuss them. Even the would-be close, the mothers, the big number of women you have in parliament, tujewo mwenge, tujewo basajja succession laws, marriage. These people are being neglected, and trust me, because of the neglect, as she put it, Mollen, child neglecting their issues, their interests, their emotions, their affection, their love, and what. That's why today when you call people to strike in Kampala, you don't see a 40-year-old. You see the results of what you have made. They are lethal. You remember in the elections?
Yes.
These kids were saying, oh, what too fat, too fair. Who says such a thing? But if you ask them,
which 40-year-old says
you,
that?
That's it.
Yes.
They simply tell you, I have nothing to lose. What am I living for? But who says that? And politicians are comfortable because for them their interest is about opposing each other. The one on this side, the one in leadership says, You will not take me out. The one who is the opposition saying, I will take you out. But who's in the middle? These are our children. When you go to the list of people who were killed or who lost lives in elections, how many of them were over the age of 40? 23, 24, 23, 20. But any civil society with right-thinking members, the power is in the young ones. Like the Baganda say, but for us, look at our miti emito. Ayuku street, basabiriza, babakwata. The level of rape in this country and defilement. When you go to police, I'm be sorting. How do you sort? These are what you call in law. There's something we call strict liability offenses. Like you don't even have to waste time. Tell you that you are proving it's a one way. But just how police handles one way offenses.
Very complicated offenses to handle.
Parents, ask the parents. You find a parent, you can't even find time to find out what your child is going through.
Oh, very busy.
Why would a child at the age of 10 be having mental health issues? At 10 years, kids are depressed. Damn.
This is
What's
just a
depressing a child
realization
at 10
that
years,
some
Philo?
parents got to know about like 2 years ago. No wonder people say we are grateful for COVID in one way or another.
Recently, there was this story, if you remember,
10 years
of
and
children.
depressed?
Is it from Green Hill, but not Green Hill?
Who was traveling to Dubai?
No, yes, these children and the parents, how do they planned everything, when they are going, when they are leaving?
Honestly, and that's why you see, Osanga Havana, and they are struggling, they are committing suicide. 15 years, what makes you commit suicide? This case we did here, Robert, I remember there was a story of a child, in a school.
The ones that were coupling and they were...
Do you know? No, I think it was bullying or something like that.
That was the second case. I think we've had 2 cases.
Can you imagine? And those are the ones that have made it to the press.
Yeah.
But do you know why? Because they have no one to talk to. Because you're there. Like, I think we have neglected our role as leaders, parents, societies, politicians. We all have a price to pay for this thing they call child abuse. It is a society thing. Lastly, Philo and my colleagues, I don't know how old some of you, I know I talk about myself and Bob because clearly we are the senior of the 2 little ladies here. But the times when we grew up, you will be shocked. Philo is okay.
You will be very shocked.
Yeah, I will be.
Definitely.
No, but
we will faint.
No, but in my old days, as a young man in Rubaga, anyone would discipline me. Kumusigula, we had, and I know the people. Even if when you did something wrong, you knew that you didn't want someone to see you, because they would, just there, tell you, no, because it was a society. This child was a society child, and you know what? Even when you achieved, whoa. So, because we lost the society value, and that's it. Because it's not about Kirabo's child, it's now a society thing.
Yes.
But today, these corridor families, no identity. You spend 10 years not even knowing your neighbor. Who cares? So we have lost that sense of society, and that's us losing the definition of who we are majorly as black people.
And Philo, might I also suggest something in addition to what Felix has suggested? I think it's about time that we also brought in the education sector. We do know that we have both the informal education and the formal education. And in a lot of ways, we know that society has failed in the informal education sector. Parents, guardians, or whoever, we have failed to put kids in a right place. But as government, you have a responsibility. And this is something that can be an opportunity that can be taken by the Ministry of Education to make sure that we have programs in schools that will protect these kids. Because we take kids these days at 2 years, 3 years. A child is already studying somewhere in a kindergarten. That means we get them there as early as possible. It also gives government an opportunity to introduce systems that will nurture these kids and protect them. For example, I would suggest counseling sessions mandated to be in every school at whatever. Yeah, there should be a department where kids are getting therapy, where kids are asked whether they are fine or not. And this should be routine. I think we've seen it work in Europe, in America. We've seen it work effectively. That at that level, even a child of 4 years knows at all free to report a child abuse case. They know, because these numbers are put everywhere in schools. They know once you're abused, either by a teacher or your parent, you're able to actually dial a phone, and they have the toll-frees anywhere, the pay phones anywhere. But at least that is a system that is working for them. How about we introduce, at least make sure we have those classes, those sessions in schools? Because we could have prevented, we could have saved those 2 lives, the kids that had suicide in schools. If they only knew there was an office to run to, they wouldn't run to the ropes.
If someone had reached out for those poor
Exactly. So I think this is one opportunity that Ministry of Education should tap into and integrate into the next curriculum.
Robert, you're saying something?
Yes, finally from me, I think we should rethink giving birth in this country. There is a way it's all about Zara ya Kana or Zara D. There's so much want to produce in this country. And much as whatever we are saying, many children, many people are a burden to our government, a burden to society, are a burden. Felix talked about those days. Even people were few. But there is a way in Africa we cherish giving birth. You know? Not everyone should be a parent, to be honest. People should think and plan and know we are bringing a human being on earth. Yes, must prepare. But you know, everywhere you go, people, now we are going for Christmas.
Yes.
People, hey, Tonazara Yoli Kampala. You've not, that no sense of thinking as if we are chicken, that that when you produce, they're going to be, you know, we need to go and rethink cultural institutions, the religious institutions, some even institutions are against family planning. You know, children, we should think you people. This thing of thinking you sleep over, get a child. No. To me, it annoys me, and I'm thinking, it's that why you are seeing child abuse.
Yes.
A girl is forced, you're making 30, Tonazara. Then you go for a rumpen just to produce. Then the child becomes a problem. Then you go for government here to Yambe.
Well, while we are still on this topic, actually, when Mollen, you were talking about the suicide issue, just a couple of days ago, the Daily Monitor was reporting that statistics are showing that more than 20 cases of suicide have been reported, and this involving school-going children, specifically for this academic year. Now, having numbers like this for just 1 year and at this very special category of people, school-going children, it tells you a lot. Now, there are very many things we just have to do. Like I did say, number one, this really requires a multi-sectoral approach, meaning that there are different sectors and different groups of people that have a lot to do when it comes to preventing cases like this, right from parents to families to, you know, teachers to all these institutions. And also, number two, the people representing all these at all institutional levels. I feel like we need a coordinated nationwide response to this issue. This is not something we can leave to only one party. The people representing at parliament level, when it comes to the NGOs, the institutions, do the actual work. Don't just sit to wait for statistics to come out and then you start talking about it. Do the groundwork right from the word go. I think with that, we'll be witnessing quite a reduction in the number of these cases, or even getting rid of the problem all at once. It's Good Morning Uganda Friday special. This conversation is still happening on 2 our socials. Go ahead, tell us what you think. Your opinions, your thoughts, your 2 cents are all welcome. We're going for a break. When we get back, Good Morning Uganda Friday special is still going on.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial *149 *10# to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial *149*10*5#. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial *149*10# to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
The Ministry of Health informs the public that there are confirmed cases of Ebola in Uganda. We, however, urge the public not to panic as the situation is being managed. The Ministry of Health further reminds the public to be on the lookout for any persons who may show signs and symptoms of Ebola. These include high body temperature, abdominal pains, diarrhea, vomiting, bleeding from the body openings such as the nose, eyes, and mouth. Please inform the nearest health worker immediately if you see anyone with these signs and symptoms. To prevent Ebola from spreading further, please take the following preventive measures: regular washing of hands with water and soap, avoid handshaking and hugging, avoiding any contact with any suspected Ebola patients. Any person who dies suddenly should not be buried but reported to the nearest health worker or LC1 immediately. For further information, please call the Ministry of Health toll-free number on 0800-100-066 or send a free SMS to your report on 8500. This message is from the Ministry of Health with support from UNICEF and World Health Organization.
Every waking day is a reminder just how beautiful this, our land, truly is. The kind of beauty that you can only find here, in the lush green all around us and the wondrous sights within. It's in the distinct aroma of our cooking, to the taste of food that takes you on a journey, in the sound of homecoming and the sound of Mother Earth, in the magnificence we find on our travels and the exciting moments we experience. Ours is the kind of beauty that comes in all things big and small. All we have to do is awaken our senses and truly enjoy what's uniquely ours. Explore Uganda, the Pearl of Africa.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial *149*10# to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial *149*10*5#. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial *149*10# to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
The press review this morning. Daily Monitor, government releases a final agencies merger list. Now you can talk about change, and this is one of them. Cabinet has decided to merge Uganda Investment Authority with Uganda Free Zones Authority and bring into one entity the National Planning Authority, National Population Council, Town and Country Planning Board, and National Physical Planning Board. Now these, among others, have been merged. Well, make sure you get the Daily Monitor to get the whole list. And IOTA speaks on plan to move NSSL forward. And of course, the former Chief Finance Officer says his priority is to continue growing the National Social Security Fund and also make it relevant to savers by broadening services and impact Uganda's development from top to grassroots. Well, look at what he has in terms of plans when it comes to NSSF in the Daily Monitor. Why MPs want Namuganza censured, and also Mubende leaders ask government to ease Ebola restrictions. And Crimean Congo fever kills Nakasongola boy. And also President Museveni warns youth on reckless behavior in regards to HIV/AIDS. And don't also forget your entertainment pull-out, the scoop, to see how Sama Namubiru took home the People's Choice Award. And in the sports section of the Daily Monitor, Africa holds breath. Could this be revenge? The referee sent Luis Suarez off and the forward was seen celebrating as he headed down the tunnel after Asamoah struck the resulting sport kick against the bar and over. Now looking at FIFA World Cup, Morocco top Group F to advance to round of 16 for first time since 1986. And I could say that very many countries are rallying behind this country. Actually, very many African countries. Morocco seems to be putting quite a very serious front over there. Switching off to New Vision, Noop rift deepens. Members of parliament from opposition drawn into the crisis. And Museveni warns youth on HIV. The picture over there showing His Excellency being welcomed by Vice President Jessica Lupo, Minister for the Presidency Millie Babidi Babalanda, Minister of Security Jim Muhwezi, and quite a number of other dignitaries. And also, South Africa's Ramaphosa faces impossible impeachment. Things are going hard down there in South Africa. And also looking at some more interesting stories in the New Vision this morning, but also looking at their sports section, or you can call it your World Cup paper, if you please. It's payback. Who is paying back to who, why, how, when? Well, you should get yourself the paper. And also what you need to know about the probable lineups and the fixtures are all in there, and the day's biggest game as well. Don't miss all that. And looking at the Daily Nation this morning, Junior High Ruto reverses Uhuru's plan, showing you the breakdown of CBC at a glance. Junior secondary schools just concluded grade 6 exams and extra classroom and laboratory, to mention but a few. Now, the decision means that learners will remain in primary schools for 9 years, the longest in the world, as the country phases out the 8 to 4.4 education system. Well, they will be giving you all that. And today they are also revealing the intrigues why Presidential Working Party on Education Reforms disregarded recommendations of curriculum experts from the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development and the Kenya National Examinations Council. And also just concluded grade 6 exams will not be used for placement to JSS. Well, you could say that major changes are sweeping the education industry or the education sector in Kenya. And also looking at quite another interesting story, in her father's footsteps is Charlene Ruto, the president's political heir apparent? Well, because she's been doing quite a lot of things that could be directing towards that. She's been crisscrossing the country, meeting governors, MCAs, and community leaders. Does this mean something? Well, get yourself the Daily Nation. 2027 factor in plot to reconstitute a polls agency. And still in more politics, Kenya Kwanza to back powerful opposition office. Talking about money, loans, borrowers gobble up to 413 million Kenyan shillings from hustlers' funds. And in athletics, how Kenya escaped global athletics ban by narrow margin. Daily Nation, Daily Monitor, the New Vision, to get all those stories and many, many more. But also something to actually listen to attentively this morning and also pick interest is coming in from Mollen, the weather, and telling us more from the climate spectrum. Mollen.
Well, this morning we want to take a look at what is happening across the country, and we'll be tapping in from the forecast models that we do have, that is over Africa, telling us what is going on. Now, from the look of things, we actually have quite a reduction in wet weather activities across much of the country today. Much sunshine, though, across northern Uganda. That is also continuing across the eastern side of Uganda, parts of central as well as northwestern. We are going to be having mostly a dry day for you. That is entirely for today, where you see the open white and the gray colors right there. That is indicating mostly sunny conditions for much of today. Now, where we have the light blue colors right there, that is where we expect a little bit of rains to come in. That takes in parts of southwestern Uganda. That is also across Kabale Highlands, areas of Mbarara, Bushenyi, Fort Portal, Hoima right there. You can expect to have a bit of rains today, not in much quantities, but we're going to be having rains for most of that area. And also that takes in the Lake Victoria Basin across areas all the way from Jinja, Tororo, looking at Mokodno, Wakiso, extending all the way up to Kampala, Entebbe, and also areas of Masaka. We're expecting rains during the course of today, but also expected in quite smaller quantities. It looks like we're having most of the dry winds coming in from north of Africa that are also affecting our weather. You can see the clearing trend right there, hovering all the way from North Africa towards our region. That explains mostly the dry conditions that are in the forecast for much of today, whereas it seems like most of the rain-bearing clouds are extending a little bit southwards, which explains those green colors right there towards West Africa and the also southern parts of Africa. As well, we're seeing most of the rains for today. Now, as we head into tomorrow, we're still going to be looking at quite a much reduction. We're talking about more dry weather, this time extending towards much of western Uganda as well, southwestern Uganda. So you can expect to have mostly a dry day across areas of Mbarara, Bushenyi, Hoima, Masindi, areas of Fort Portal as well. You can expect to have more dry weather coming your way. Also for areas of Tororo, Jinja, we now start to see those rains go down. We're going to have a continuation of a little bit of rains for Kabale Highlands, but also those who will be quite in smaller quantities. And those also across Lake Victoria. We do see light blue colors right there for areas within the Lake Victoria Basin. That is indicative that we have possibilities of rains, but that will also be in very, very small quantities. And this is for Saturday, so this is where I would recommend, if you have any outdoor activity planned, go ahead and plan for it, because we do expect at least a reduced wet weather activities for your Saturday, but also do plan for much more of those high temperatures that will be associated with those dry conditions. Now, as we head into Sunday, literally a repeat of a Saturday for most areas, although we'll start to see more rains again picking up for southwestern Uganda as well as parts of the Lake Victoria Basin. But still, it's going to be in smaller quantities according to the colors displayed right there in light blue. We also see some of the rains that will be picking up across Mount Elgon Highlands, areas of Mbale right there. We might have a little bit of spills of rains over the area, but also very, very small quantities. Otherwise, we continue with quite a dry day for northern Uganda and parts of eastern Uganda, as well as the Chogo region, also extending up to the Albert area. That will be mostly dry. Most areas within central also will be mostly dry. So we do expect literally 3 days of continuous dry weather for most of those areas that are left in the open white grayish colors right there. That is indicating that it's going to be quite a dry weekend. Now, depending on whether you needed the rains or not, that is probably bad news for those that needed the rains, but good news for those that expected quite a clear weekend. So this will work for you. But again, we'll also be looking at most of that continuing as we start the week. We might have a pickup in wet weather activities more as we head into midweek. But for the weekend, I can tell you, you can expect to have mostly dry conditions. Now, that also goes to say that we'll have temperatures going up. So if you're leaving a certain area, probably if you're heading towards northern Uganda, or if you're around northern Uganda, this is a time to prepare for that kind of weather and know that it's going to be quite dry, and also prepare for that. Make sure you have with yourself a bottle of water, because it's going to be quite hot and temperatures will be equally high.
Well, that is it in terms of weather updates for this morning. We'll be coming in later to give you what to expect in terms of your entertainment, where to be this weekend, and of course that you can look forward to right after the break.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial star 149 star 10 hash to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial star 149 star 10 star 5 hash. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial star 149 star 10 hash to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Happiness comes to us in many places. It's in knowing the mosquito net keeps our children healthy. The wife having the support of her husband. It's in deciding together when to have a baby. And for some, focusing on what's important right now. So what's your happiness? Make the right health decisions to ensure happiness for you and your family.
Every waking day is a reminder just how beautiful this, our land, truly is. The kind of beauty that you can only find here, in the lush green all around us and the wondrous sights within. It's in the distinct aroma of our cooking to the taste of food that takes you on a journey, in the sound of homecoming and the sound of Mother Earth, in the magnificence we find on our travels and the exciting moments we experience. Ours is the kind of beauty that comes in all things big and small. All we have to do is awaken our senses and truly enjoy what's uniquely ours. Explore Uganda, the Pearl of Africa.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
Special Friday it is, and we're still continuing with you up until the hour of 9. Now, it is time to give you a little bit of a spot on where to be this weekend. Now, if you love movies, you do know that this is the time to actually spot out those that will be right there for you. What is coming out today in cinema, and this is the first movie I want to spot out for you, the movie The Menu. This is coming out today across cinemas, and it is a story penned by Will Tracy and Seth Reese. Focuses on a young couple who visit an exclusive destination restaurant on a remote island where the acclaimed chef has prepared a lavish tasting menu along with some shocking surprise deadline notes. Well, it looks like now Phineas plays a world-class chef, of course, who sets in motion and adds some unexpected ingredients into the menu. As planned, the action follows one particular A-list couple that takes part. I've heard Stone will also play as half the couple. Well, this is a very interesting movie, of course, featuring some of your favorite actors and actresses. Now, this one is actually nice because it is actually featuring Anya Taylor-Joy. If you know Anya Taylor-Joy, she has played in movies like The Queen's Gambit, the actress in Queen's Gambit. That is Anya, and of course she's the one playing as Margot. We also have a little bit of more actors right there. Paul Addison. Paul has played in movies like Private Practice. He has been there, and a lot of A-listers in the music industry, in the movie industry. Let's take a look at the trailer.
Still very close. It's complicated.
Family only, ma'am.
I'm his cousin.
Immediate family only.
You ain't driving, are you?
I steer a little, but the ranger do most of the work.
Shit. I knew I should have said sister.
I believe in the way.
Promise me that we will always be there for each other.
Cross my heart.
Good evening. Welcome to Hawthorne. It'll be our pleasure to feed you.
Tonight will be magical.
Over the next few hours, you will ingest fat, salt, protein, and at times entire ecosystems.
We're eating the ocean.
We're eating the ocean.
Are you crying?
It's just I find it all very moving.
So it's okay that I'm not as into this as you are. Oh my god.
You shouldn't be here tonight. You, my dear guests, are not the common man. Isn't that right?
Is he gonna keep doing that?
What happens inside this room is meaningless compared to what happens outside. We are but a frightened nanosecond. Nature is timeless.
What the hell is going on?
I love you all.
We love you too, Chef!
Any questions?
Is this bergamot I'm getting, Chef?
Yes, it is.
Well, quite a scary one right there. It is horror, it is comedy. Now, if you are a foodie and you like to eat in different places, maybe it would be nice for you to check them out before you get in. But that is what guys are in for in the main movie. And of course, that will be coming out today. You can already book your tickets towards that movie. Of course, also in there is a little bit of friendship. What happens when you are faced with some kind of horror in that kind of scenario. Now, the second thing I want to spot out for you is a series also coming out right today, and this is streaming on Netflix, talking about the Firefly Lane. Now, this is up to a second season. We know that watching the first season, you understand the story of Tari and Kate, who meet as young girls, that is on a Firefly Lane, and become inseparable friends. Now, what happens after that? Throughout 30 years of ups and downs, their friendship is being put to test. Now, this brings in a little bit of more of the episodes that did come from series like Grey's Anatomy. If you watched Grey's Anatomy, that brings in a feel of that. If you watched Scrubs, also it's a combination. Now, this is being brought into the second season that is coming out today, and of course featuring some of the characters that actually did also appear in Grey's Anatomy and Scrubs. You're looking at Sarah Check, you're looking at Ben Lawson right there playing as Johnny Ryan, and also Kathleen Hage. Of course, she's best known for appearances in series like Suits, and of course more of the series of the movies across Hollywood. She is playing as Tally Hatt. Let's take a look at the trailer.
Immediate family only.
Shit. I knew I should have said sister.
I believe in the way.
Promise me that we will always be there for each other.
Cross my heart.
I'm running away, and I want you to come with me.
You want us to get in the car with strangers?
Yes, but only nice strangers, so it's safe.
You are the best friend a girl could ask for.
Excuse me. Oh, look! You are Tully Hart, aren't you?
Yes, and I love my fans, truly.
You've been served. Is there any way I could take a picture with you?
He took my show. He took my voice. So I'm taking it back. I'm making a documentary on finding my dad.
Johnny?
Hey, maybe you should go talk to somebody. I'm worried.
We're not married. You don't have to worry about me.
Yeah, well, I still do.
I've lost the thread. I don't even know who I am anymore.
You're Tully fucking Hart. There's a million reasons why we split up.
He took my voice.
Well, right there for you. And of course, Catherine Hage does bring in a little bit of drama in that movie as well. But also, what else to look out for this weekend? We're looking at a movie that is also coming out today across cinema. And of course, this, I think you'll have to be really patient, because I would expect that most of the tickets have already been booked for today. But it is about time right after this for you to actually get the ticket to your favorite cinema and of course watch the movie Violent Night. If you're feeling like you're Christmassy, Violent Night is one to get you into the mood. Now, it takes a more of a comedy feel, but also the action in there. It gives you a story of an elite team of mercenaries that break into a family compound on Christmas Eve, taking everyone hostage. Now, after all that, however, they aren't prepared for surprise combatants. Well, Santa Claus is on the ground. And of course, with Santa coming in, comes about a show. How about showing why Nick is no saint? Now, that is a story of Santa Cruz, but also what happens with family that has been faced with such a horror. Well, this is a good movie featuring actors like David Harbour. David Harbour is the one playing Santa Cruz. He's best known for his role as the policeman in the recent series that is across mostly the kids series right there. And also he has been in movies like, he has appeared in movies like Stranger Things. That is actually the series where he appears as the policeman in Stranger Things. He has been in movies like Hellboy, and that is what you can count on, all the action in there. Let's take a look into the trailer for Violent Night.
You ain't driving, are you?
I steer a little, but the ranger do most of the work.
This is my 4th year as a Santa. How about you?
I started the whole damn thing.
It's Christmas!
We decided that you could have one gift.
Early.
What is it?
That is a direct hotline to Santa Claus himself.
I can talk to Santa.
All right, revelers. Welcome to your worst Christmas ever. Let's go! You have $300 million in your personal vault. That's what I want for Christmas.
I don't want any trouble, okay? Someone's gonna scooch up that chimney.
Who is he? Because he's not your typical mall Santa.
Santa, are you there? Daddy said you were very busy tonight. My name's Trudy Lightstone. Are you gonna help us, Santa?
Yeah, Trudy.
Santa?
You're on my nice list. Santa Claus is coming to town. Time for some season's beatings.
Who the hell are you?
Boss, what if he really is the real?
No such thing as Santa.
These bad men, they're all on my naughty list. Naughty. That's naughty!
And what do you do to the naughty ones?
I give them a lump of coal.
Well, David Harbour right there, diving in as Santa Claus in the middle of a crime scene. Of course, he's a superhero in that movie trying to save the day. But also, how do they again solve the mystery, the crime in there, and what are they after, the mercenaries? That is all the story you can get in Violent Night. Of course, that is also showing today. It starts showing today across cinema. Now, I do have a bonus for you. This Friday, and of course, we're talking about a trailer that just dropped in. Now, this is a movie slated for 2023, but the trailer has just been put across. That is across all our media platforms. Now, that is looking at Transformers: The Rise of the Beasts. Now, if you've been a huge fan of Transformers, you do know that the next movie does carry a lot of meaning. We are looking at the story during the 1990s, the Maximals, the Pendragons, and of course the Terracons, joining the existing battle on Earth between the Autobots and the Deceptionists. Of course, now that is also showing you how much this Transformers Rise of the Beasts is going to be talking about. We have sci-fi in there, we have action, and of course this is slated for the initial release expected in June 2023. That's when we do expect the initial release. But of course, Paramount Pictures has already put up the trailer. And of course, we want to take a look at what to expect in this breakdown of the Rise of the Beasts.
Down. I'm not the one to fear crime. There is a darkness coming. Threats from both your past and future. You've never faced anything like this. Let them come.
The battle continues. I think from this I can expect only the action that will be coming out of this movie. And now we see most of the action right there, actually bringing in actors like Ron Perlman. Now he is playing as the Optimus right there, the Primo, leading a team of all those beasts that will be striking in. Pete Davidson. Now Pete Davidson is best known for his music, but what role does he play in these Transformers? Particularly Pete Davidson. I'm trying to imagine him as, you know, a Transformer. It's not clicking, but one to actually look out for, that is the movie The Transformers. Well, now, if you're also looking for a good read, and of course we do spot out for you the top reads in 2022, and of course one of those that have actually gone on to crossing over into 2023, still top on the list. We're looking at one of the books that are still best-selling on Amazon Kindle, and of course across all the Amazon bookstores. We're looking about The Atomic One. Well, this is a book that you can look out for, and of course it gets you a story of what habits to look out for. This is The Atomic Habits, and of course it is a book by James Clear. Well, it follows a story on what happens when definitive guide to breaking bad behaviors and adopting good ones in 4 simple steps. Now they show you how small, how incremental, how everyday routines compound into massive and positive change over time. Well, this morning we're talking about behavior change, how to protect kids, of course, how to transform bad behavior. Sounds like a book that is perfect for it. And of course, you look at what happens when in a family you also have people with behaviors that you wish to change. Now, there is an approach, and this is the guide that is James Clear does take through with the book Atomic Habits. Of course, it gives you illustrations and a summary of the daily routines that you can adopt to transform anyone emotionally and, of course, with their behavioral change. That is one to look out for, and one I would personally be going to read. Now, if you're not subscribed to most of these bookstores, Amazon Kindle, whatever, you know you can always get a read into some of the online books, because most of these bestsellers actually also have a platform for the website. You can always search across and get their books, and of course at a small fee you can get the books. But also some of these books you do actually find that they are already available in the bookstores that we have across Uganda. So it just takes you visiting some of these bookstores, and you could get yourself a book into that, and of course have yourself a good read that is transformative. Now, something else to look out for this weekend. We've seen most of the culture groups start up functions, and of course, interesting enough, this is interesting for me, the Bachiga Nation, they have seemed to be really consistent when it comes to putting up events. And of course, this weekend on Sunday, we're looking for Rukundo Egumeho concert that is in the Bachiga Nation, and of course, it is slated for Sunday, the 4th of December. It's going to be at the Indian Association grounds. That is one to look out for, and of course, you can expect what to expect from a Bachiga Nation event. Rukundo Egumeho. Now, this will also be featuring some of the artists like Ray G. They'll be bringing in Florence Musimenta, Shino Muchiga with the raps in there, and of course with Ashaba. This is one to look out for with culture performances. The Chitaguro, my Chitaguro is not good, but maybe Philomena here has a better feel when it comes to that and might grace the Bachiga Nation. Rukundo Egumeho. Philomena, what do you think?
I'll think about it. I'll think about it.
It is something to think about, and of course you do know that you can expect also the culture drinks in there. Omuramba. This event is bringing in a lot. Bushera and Turide. Hey, that is, if you're Muchiga and you've not had in Turide, you better show up for this event, because that is where all the fun is going to be. I don't know, Philo, have you tested Turide before?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have. And I will reserve my comments. But I have. I've tested it.
You have?
Yeah, and I think I liked it anyway.
Well, very well. I also like it.
Yeah.
I think I've tested it
if I decide to go, it may be one of the reasons as to why I'm going there.
We should go. We should go. Yeah. And by the way, also this weekend, guys, Alvin Clever has put out an exclusive discounted prices for this weekend, especially for most of the events that are going across. If you come to Alvin Clever's shop, and of course you do spot out an event that we say out here on every Friday, if you go for that event, all you have to do is use a code Mollen at UBC and you'll get a discount. He is at Rural Park Plaza, shop number F2637, and of course he is on my wares. The label is out right there. You can see it, Alvin Clever. He will get you the best designs that you can have for the weekend, and of course with the code Mollen at UBC, you get a 20% discount off everything that you buy. Of course, you can also have him on his social media platforms, that is at Alvin Clever, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. You can have him there, and of course tap him up for the best wares for the weekend. Before you go for that event and drill and all the music in there, make sure you're dressed to kill. You never know.
Well, you have what to watch, you have where to go, and most importantly, you have a plug where you can get your outfits from. What else do you want for the weekend? It's Good Morning Uganda Friday special. We're still here with you. We'll go for a break. When we get back, we'll be having sports updates and more conversations.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial star 149 star 10 hash to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial star 149 star 10 star 5 hash. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial star 149 star 10 hash to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Happiness comes to us in many places. It's in knowing the mosquito net keeps our children healthy. The wife having the support of her husband. It's in deciding together when to have a baby. And for some, focusing on what's important right now. So what's your happiness? Make the right health decisions to ensure happiness for you and your family. Pick of the day on UBC.
If I'm looking at issues of taxation and all that, I will definitely run for the Kateshumbas. Okay? Okay. if I look at, if I'm looking at issues of investments and what, I would definitely run. I would definitely run for Dr. Emure Kugonza and Honorable Omara. Okay. If I'm looking at issues of the law, I will run for our very, very own people. I have the Oboso bosses, I have the Katuntus, I have the Robin Arwakojos. So everyone is talented in one way or another.
Did you mention Katuntu?
Okay. Yes.
Is he yours?
Yes, he is.
Yours as in NRM?
He is.
Was brought to you by. Simply make a small deposit of 99k and pay the balance mpola. You can pay in daily, weekly or even monthly installments while you enjoy your new phone. So what are you doing today? Visit any MTN shop near you and get the MTN cupboard. That's super easy.
When you talk about our motherland Uganda, the pearl of Africa, you cannot fail to smile because of the smile that fills the faces of the citizens. Our nice good weather and nature that sustains us all, that enables us all to continue each in their own way, because we are all different even according to each individual's work. But what joins us to become one person is the sweetness from the flavored drink Alleluia Jingati drink and Alleluia Tamarind drink. The flavor that quenches your thirst while at the same time treating and healing your body because it is 100% natural. Enjoy the drink that has got the tamarind juice in it. Made by Alleluia Reflexology, Healthy Solutions and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Get yourself a bottle of Alleluia from all shops around.
The FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022. The wait is over.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
World Cup what? I don't even know where to start from because we had a lot of shockers. We have had a lot of shockers in this World Cup. And honestly speaking, there are things that you can talk about in football and you just imagine them, but they did happen. And in 2014, we had actually from 2010 and 2014, Italy did not get out of the group in 2010. Then 2014, the group that had Costa Rica and New Zealand. Italy didn't qualify from that group. So the same applies to Germany. 2018, they didn't qualify from their group that had South Korea. And again, the group that has Germany, Spain and Costa Rica, plus Japan, Germany did not qualify from the group. So what does it teach these so-called big countries? You cannot underestimate a team like Japan or even Costa Rica. Anyway, but I'll start with the results from yesterday. We had Germany beating Costa Rica by 4-2. Then Japan did beat Spain by 2-1. And now as the group stands, that is Japan leads the group with 6 points, and Spain had 4 points from 3 games. Whoever thought that at the end of the 3 games, Japan would be leading the group and Spain would be second? We all thought it would be Germany and Japan and Spain, but as we speak now, Germany is home and Costa Rica is home. It's only Spain and Japan from that group. We had other games that were played yesterday from Group F. Croatia lost to Morocco by Canada lost to Morocco by 2-1, and Belgium drew with Croatia. That was 0-0. And as the table stands, Morocco goes through with 7 points, unbeaten, 1 draw and 2 wins. Then Croatia follows them in second with 5 points from 3 games. That means Belgium and Canada will be flying back home this morning. There will be no any other chance for them. Now today we have the deciders in Group G and Group H. Cameroon takes on Brazil at 10 p.m. Then Serbia takes on Switzerland at 10 as well. Then at 6 p.m. Uruguay will play against Ghana, and then South Korea will play against Portugal. Now, what's tricky about this group? If Ghana beat Uruguay, they'll go to 6 points, and that means they'll qualify. It's actually in their hands to beat Uruguay and qualify. Then, if South Korea beat Portugal, they will go to 4 points, and they pray that Ghana loses against Uruguay. So Africa has already had 2 teams that have qualified for the second round. That is Senegal and Morocco. Now, if we get Ghana to qualify today and Cameroon, you never know, even Cameroon can qualify, we will have 4 countries out of the 5 in the round of 16, and that will be something for Africa. If you have many teams in the round of 16, 1 or 2 might qualify for the quarterfinals and even the semi-finals. Morocco plays fantastic football. Same applies to Senegal and Ghana. So if Cameroon beat Brazil tonight, Cameroon got 4 points, and actually they will pray that Switzerland lose their game against Serbia, or draw. Serbia and Switzerland, if they draw, they'll got 2 points, and if Cameroon beat Brazil, they'll go to 4 points, and that means they'll qualify for the second round. But if either Serbia win, if Switzerland win, they'll definitely qualify. But if Serbia force a draw against Switzerland, Cameroon beat Brazil, that would be something that would have been good for Africa. But anyway, we have the second round fixtures that has already been approved. Of course, I will take you through who is playing who in the second round. Senegal will take on England, but that will be in the round of 16. Then Netherlands will take on USA. Morocco will take on Spain. Japan will take on Croatia. Argentina will take on Australia. And then France will take on Poland. Those are the first 6 games which have been confirmed for the second round. And we have 2 other fixtures left from 2 groups that is left. So if the groups are all complete, that is Group A, Group G, and Group H. I would not now. The winner in Group G will take on the runners-up in Group H, and of course the winner in Group H will take on the runners-up in Group G. That will complete this round of 16 games. There will be 8 games, and from there we'll go to the quarterfinals, then semi-finals, and probably on the 18th of December we'll be here to give you the final of the 2022 World Cup. That's it from the games this morning from the World Cup. Of course, John Barnes will be here at 6 to give you the game between Ghana. Ghana will be in action against Uruguay, and the game will be live on UBC TV. Then at 10, Cameroon will take on Brazil. That will be at 10 p.m. So the team will be ready to carry on, to take you through the analysis of the FIFA Men's World Cup. And I know that many would love to ask what happened to Germany. Germany won the game against Costa Rica, but they couldn't qualify for the round of 16 because they lost to Japan and drew with Spain, so they couldn't go through. But the big ones we have tonight or this evening, Ghana will take on Uruguay at 6 p.m. and Cameroon will take on Brazil. That will be at 10 p.m. In the World Cup, that's 2022 in Qatar. Felix, there are so many updates. There have been so many upsets in the World Cup, and Germany are actually packing their bags today to head back to Berlin.
They literally forgotten the historical norms of the backing bar. Now it's a different, I don't know, whatever it is now. There are lots of Pumas and Nikes, but
and Lotto.
The Kappa and backing bar, they didn't make presents.
You know, football is funny these days. I mean,
honestly,
whoever thought that is in a group that has Costa Rica, Japan, Germany, and Spain, would see Japan qualifying.
But Japan, of all clubs, they played some nice football. I was watching you guys yesterday with my very good friend Michael, and he was saying 3-2. He was saying 1x1.
1x.
The boy of the Minos and so it got me thinking. But you know, one of the things I've learned in this World Cup, and for particular teams, I'll name about 3: Japan in particular, Senegal, and I think also. For example, anyway, we shall talk about Cameroon, but there's something that I think we should learn in games is belief and consistency. The Japanese have been stable. The way they play the 2 minutes, they play the 90th minute.
Yeah, for me, those two teams, I'll tell you, that is a South Korea and Japan.
Yes.
The endurance.
For me, that was super.
Levels, from the first minute to the
those
final
guys,
minute,
they deserve to go up to the honestly.
And
I hope they go far. I was disappointed by Canada. Canada gave us some good
football.
Honestly and truly, no one expected those guys, but they gave us some good run for our eyes. Cameroon, I'm very disappointed. And I wonder why Eto'o was giving a hype. Expectation was too high. I'm told, I don't know how true it is, you can confirm that Igor Batsongo had issues with the goalkeeper, and I think Abubakar. That's why they didn't appear. I don't know why you have to put your.
No, there are some sentiments, but the goalkeeper did make actually in the dressing room, and they thought maybe he's trying to destabilize the dressing room. So as a good coach, you put that player aside and focus on the next game.
And you lose the game.
And focus on the next game.
And you lose the game.
I don't want to say that.
You see,
but there must be discipline within the camp.
You do not start a team without
the reason why David Obo was sacked from the camp in 2011 is because of such indiscipline.
And what did we get?
I don't know.
Sometimes
Felix,
it's not about
discipline when it comes to teamwork.
Discipline,
you don't do that.
Ruben, discipline must have results.
True, but we've seen players kicked out of Edmundo in 1998 World Cup was kicked out of the Brazilian national team.
Absolutely.
Because of indiscipline. You go to players like Rudy Gullit when he was kicked out of the Dutch team.
Most recent, the Ronaldo issue.
To cut off his hair. Then you go to Ronaldo at Manchester United. You don't come out and talk about
absolutely. Anyway, to keep institutional sanity, you must.
Andrew Nana and Visitor Abubakar might have said something that was contrary to the rules and to the rules of and maybe registration of the Cameroon FA. So they had to come strong and discipline them.
But you saw the effect of them missing in the game.
No, yes, but you've got to show the other players that they are not.
Bring in Abubakar. Sometimes you need a win. Sometimes I don't know. It's a hard press by the way for the coach. I know. I can imagine that situation.
But Felix, we can't live without talking about Morocco. They have really done us proud as Africa. They beat Belgium 2-0.
Senegal.
They did beat Canada yesterday.
Yes.
And they qualified with 7
points. It was a hard game.
Yes.
It was a hard game.
A group that
I tell you.
Excuse me. A group that has Canada, Belgium,
of all clubs.
I mean, for me, I am proud of the North African countries.
You know, I don't know why these Qataris also are funny. They should have gone to Morocco, Tunisia, the Algerians to get some of these players.
This is their first outing, Felix. In the next outing, they will have learned better.
They had 7 passes on the ball. So, as an organizer, I think they focused on the money than on the...
But tonight we have 2 games, Felix.
Yeah.
Ghana takes on Uruguay. And the cards of your TV you can predict and win. Ghana, Uruguay. If you get it right. Yesterday I got it right. I said Japan 2, Spain 1. And the guys laughed at me. And by the end of 90 minutes, it was 2-1 Japan.
Honestly, I was a witness. I remember you saying, me, I'll go for Japan when everyone was running to... But Spain. There's something you spoke about yesterday with these young lads of Spain.
The Xavi and Pedri.
You guys have so much hope in them, but I can also predict that if they are not well placed with the right coaches, Enrique is trying to show them to the world, but is the world ready for that talent?
Maybe.
You saw what happened to the likes of Fabregas. The only reason why Messi is Messi today, he has chose to play for one team for over 10 seasons. But these...
No, Pedri and Xavi are in Catalonia. Trust me. What is around them? First and foremost, their buyout clause is £1 billion. Yes, that's one thing. 2, they love playing for Catalonia. They love staying in Catalonia.
And that's the problem.
So it's very hard to buy from them. It's very hard to go and get those boys out of Barcelona. It's very hard.
Is it good for them?
Yes, I mean, you saw Xavi and Iniesta play their hearts out at Barcelona.
Absolutely.
So maybe
I don't doubt.
The fact I said is the coach.
Can
he manage them?
And that's my worry.
So
oh my God! I look at this boy, Pablo. Whoa! His left touch, his right touch, all. And there's this back, the black guy, the number 3, who was left. This.
I could also forget
that he's also equally young. He's I think 21.
He plays for Barcelona as well.
He's so good.
I forget
the confidence.
It's them escape out of my mind.
I don't know where our Dan Wagaruka is. He used to play as
got Balde.
Balde, yes. Wagaruka used to play the same exact fashion.
How old was Wakariga? Wagaruka. I said Wakariga.
You're so much into Mayuni boys in Wagaruka.
How old is Wagaruka? You know, Balde is a young lad coming through.
Wagaruka was his age.
Benching cover hard for him. But Enrique, I'll tell you, Felix, that's a group where Spain German could not qualify. But I'll tell you, Luis Enrique has bought the Barcelonism in Spain. I mean, it drops Carvajal and brings in Balde. It drops the midfielders and gets 2 players from Catalonia. That's Pedri and Gavi. So he loves the Catalans.
He's so stuck with that form of playing because he has. And something else, just briefly. What's your comment about Senegal?
They're a good team. They're a good team.
How far do you think they'll go?
They'll go up to the quarterfinals. They'll go up to quarterfinals. They might beat England, by the way. They might surprise
England. They will beat England.
No, don't say they will, but they might surprise England.
I'll tell you why.
England is a tricky team. You might think it's like Germany when they play against African teams.
And soccer at this point is no longer about tricks. You're either in for it or not in for it. Starting
the Grand Rice and the Bellingham
Maguire
against good. But the Senegalese players are good, and I see them.
It's just so sad they are missing money in play. Imagine if they had that bullet in front.
But for me, the overdose on money would have costed them. Sometimes when a player gets injured, it's a blessing to the team. They all play as a unit. Out. Yes, if you have side money, they stop the team. It's good to have him around. But he has a lot. He carries everything for the team. And now if he fails, the team has failed. But if you have average players, now look at the game they played, where they considered an equalizer and came back and scored the second goal. Koulibaly. I mean, you could again. I think it was against. What was it? Their last group game, I forget it. They played against Ecuador. I think it was Ecuador.
Yes.
In their last game.
When they put them out.
Yeah, they scored. They scored the first. They equalized. Then Koulibaly stepped on and got the winner. So if they will send the money, they will all give the ball to him, and he will be first.
And he will deliver. That is the difference. He will deliver. That guy will deliver. He doesn't disappoint.
So African countries, Senegal 6 points, Morocco 7 points from the group. That was a bit hard for Morocco. Then Senegal qualifying ahead of Qatar and Ecuador, the hosts, and then Ecuador means that African.
But we shall miss Ecuador.
So if you have 4 teams, just imagine if you have Morocco, Senegal, Ghana and Cameroon, we might have a team in the round of 16.
Absolutely.
In the
and my prediction, if Cameroon sits down his boys, Eto, they will give us some good results.
Against Brazil? Against Brazil, my dear? Okay. Okay,
the Samba boys, the Sao Paulo lads.
The Maracanas.
No, say Cameroon would he knows.
But soccer is soccer.
Soccer is soccer, my friend.
I told Michael yesterday that I saw South Korea beat Italy. And I was up there, I've never woken up from the dream. That was 2-0-2. Up to that, I was still asking myself, did they lose against South Korea? But they did. The Totis, Gattuso, Camoranesi, Zambrota were beaten.
I remember one time when I was still playing soccer, our coach called Titi Kamara used to tell us, so I should have seen that for Italy, but nevertheless, thank you so much for staying with us. Good morning, Uganda. But Ruben, Christmas is here as we finalize.
Yes.
What's for December?
There's nothing
Anything
new.
In particular?
There's nothing new about Christmas, Felix.
Are you shocked
prayers
that
on the 24th? We go for prayers, come back, eat some food, and the day is done. There's nothing to write home about. Fees is next year, next month.
No, so fees is next week after.
When you spend all the money in Christmas, you'll be crying in January and saying there's no money. What? So I would advise to parents, do not overspend during Christmas.
Don't buy chicken.
Don't. You go and get the basics, but don't overspend. Because January is not, it's tomorrow. It's tomorrow. And before you know it,
Christmas is here and school fees is weekend.
So I don't encourage parents to spend too much money. They should know that a fees is just weeks away.
Is there money to spend, Ruben? This
people have the money.
I know anyway.
But it's you who does it.
That's the problem. That's the problem. But a quick one. We had a topic, my colleagues, Robert, Mollen and Philo here, about child abuse. It's taking a big toll lately. You parents are overbeating the children, you're burning children's fingers, the men are raping children. Every time you drive on the streets of Kampala, who's to blame for this, Ruben?
Are we the parents?
Who's responsible?
We the parents, first and foremost, but there are so many parents out there who are not ready to be parents. They just became parents by mistake.
Yes.
So they don't know how to manage a home, how to manage stress, how to take care of the children.
That's a big one. Managing stress.
Yes.
You must know how to manage
Felix, you and I know that when you are stressed a lot, you might react differently.
Surely.
So managing your stress yourself is difficult as a father or as a parent. So we carry that stress to the children, carry that stress to our spouses, which is very dangerous to refer to a home. So for me, there's we had the mental awareness month.
Yes.
So we need to sensitize more about
how to deal with mental challenges, stress, anxiety, trauma,
poverty,
depression.
Poverty levels.
Poverty now is also a cause of mental health.
Yes. My brother told me he will not know what tomorrow will bring.
Yes.
You get? Yes. So he cannot predict that. I'll tell you, Felix, wait for January. You see a lot of men moving, walking, they walk
talking to themselves.
Talking to themselves. They're like, Ruben, what's wrong? Say, hey. Okay, I'm okay, I don't know. But because of that stress of school fees, because of poverty levels.
What are we going to do?
No, we need to go back to the drawing board. Let's go back to the gardens. Let's go back there and try to do what we can do. Otherwise, the world, we might lose it.
What games do we have today, Ruben? And what should our viewers expect at what time?
We have Ghana against Uruguay at 6 p.m. live on UBC TV. John Barnes will be and Fifi Pinky. Yes, and the team.
Our Fifi Pinky.
Then, yes, our
John Barnes.
Mama Sky. Then
Mama Sky.
Cameroon takes on Brazil at 10 p.m.
Oh yeah.
Yes, those are the final group games that we'll be having.
Both African teams will be at it again?
Yes.
Any expectations from Ghana?
I think Ghana can manage Uruguay. Uruguay has not been playing well. The players are edgy. I mean, Cavani, the best setup what I've watched over the years, Edinson Cavani. Then Suarez is of yesteryears.
They used to have that guy who used to be the best in free kick against Beckham.
Alvaro Recoba.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Recoba retired and actually he was in the stands watching the World Cup.
Oh, I love with his. I don't know if it was.
I'll tell you, there are two left footers I have watched in my entire time. That's Alvaro Recoba and Sinisa Mihailovic.
Yes.
Those two,
You're
the
right.
Yugoslavian left back. I have not seen players of such quality today. You can't find them anywhere, but Recoba had a sweet left.
Was a good one. But Cameroon, Brazil, what are your prediction?
It might be hard for Cameroon to beat Brazil, but I would love. My heart says they must win against Brazil.
Now let me help you.
But my heart says Cameroon, but realistically, they can't beat Brazil.
Let me help your heart. They are going to beat Cameroon. by about 3.
Did you watch Morocco, Belgium?
Very well.
Did you watch
Belgium is a different...
Did you watch Ghana, Portugal?
You see the problem with Belgium. You saw Lukaku and De Bruyne. I think they had their own off-pitch issues. They kept on all the time. I don't know. I don't know what was.
It was just a bad day in office.
Anyway, but it's going to be a bad day in office for Cameroon. That one I can tell you.
You are predicting now?
Sorry?
You are predicting now?
Absolutely.
I don't.
No. Brazil will score at least.
Just play 90 minutes behind the ball, get one chance, score, cross the show. 90 minutes are done, we are good to go.
If Rigobert Song'o gets his arrogance back on the pitch, he's going to swallow more. They will be on the flight back to the streets to eat pepe and soup. Anyway, thank you so much for watching UBC in particular. Good morning Friday, but we'll be back. Philo's going to be back here to close up and probably give you plot for weekend. I don't know where she's going to be. Ruben, where will you be? Any short dresses soon? Any days?
No. The girls are back for the holidays. So I have to spend time with them. Yes, sir. So there's no short dress for when the holidays come around. There's no short dresses. After, when they go back to school, then I
there's some money for short. There's a very stubborn man. Who has a long sigiri there in Chandono. For some of you who passed there. But anyway, thank you so much for watching UBC. Good morning, Uganda. We come to you Monday to Friday, 6:30 to 9, and thereafter, of course, we do have Good Morning Uganda Extra. Now, it's the best time to say thank you so much again, but also to say bye-bye, and thank you for watching Good Morning Extra. We'll meet on Monday. Philo, Bob, Robert, Mollen, and myself will be here to give you what's happening in Uganda. But keep yourself safe. Be kind. Be kind to one another. Everyone is struggling with something. In what you say, in what you do, don't judge people. Just give support. God bless you. Let's meet on Monday.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
The FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022. The wait is over.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial *149*10# to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial *149*10*5#. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial *149*10# to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
When you talk about our motherland Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, you cannot fail to smile because of the smile that fills the faces of the citizens. Our nice good weather and nature that sustains us all, that enables us all to continue each in their own way because we are all different even according to each individual's work. But what joins us to become one person is the sweetness from the flavored drink Alleluia Jingati drink and Alleluia Tamarind drink. The flavor that quenches your thirst while at the same time treating and healing your body because it is 100% natural. Enjoy the drink that has got the tamarind juice in it. Made by Alleluia Reflexology, Healthy Solutions and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Get yourself a bottle of Alleluia from all shops around.
Pick of the day on UBC.
If I'm looking at issues of taxation and all that, I will definitely run for the Kateshumbas. Okay? if I look at, if I'm looking at issues of investments and what, I would definitely run. I would definitely run for Dr. Emure Kugonza and Omara.